Alrighty. What's up, peeps? I'm just setting up right now. What's up? What's up? Let's see who's here. We got Anisha in the house. What's up, Noah? Hi, Alicia. I got Suhani. Hi, Suhani. I don't think you're my student. Aisha, howdy. Back at you. Anna, hello. Nice to see you. Eris is here. Harsha, there you are, buddy. Unknown person. All right. Anusha's here. Nikita's here. Syed. All right. What's up, man? Arthur, nice to see you here. Shravya. Shikar, am I saying that right? Hi, Kanksha. What's up, Avni? What's up, Shikar? All right. Nice to see everybody. I know Jones is still going on his. So, hi, Nidhi. Yeah, Nidhi's going to be our moderator for the session. Elisa, there you are. Nice to see you all. Maha, there's Maha. All right. What's up, friends? Nice to see everybody here. How many people we got? What's our number? Where are we at? 29 people? All right. Not bad. Who else is here? We got Coco. Got lots of friends. Aisha, am I saying that right? All right. Looks like I have lots of you here. Iona is here. Did I miss anybody? Did I miss anyone? All right, folks. I am sitting in my kitchen. Looking forward to chatting with you all. All right. Hi, Shivy. Hi, everybody. Okay. So let's get started. What's up, Arushi? Hi, everyone who's here. Nice to see you all. What's up, Grayson? All right. Okay, we got over 30 people here. It's like a full class. Okay, so I'm excited to be here. It's our first video live session of the year, and I am here to help. So what questions you got for me? Let's get going. What you got? Ask away. I'm looking for your questions. Okay, Eris, where do we get our drinking water from? So a lot of it comes from local sources, right? From nearby reservoirs and aquifers, and a lot of it comes from the snowpack in the Sierra that eventually comes to us. So that's where we get it from. Remember, the estuary is not where we get our water from. What's up, Aparna? Will there be viruses on the quiz? I think if you know the characteristics of life and you can apply that to something like a virus, then you're good to go. Go over what a watershed is. Sure, Nisha. A watershed is basically an area where a lot of this water that's basically running down through gravity, it's gathering, it's running to one spot, almost like a bowl. So it's all being collected in one spot. That's a watershed. Okay. Lots of questions coming my way. I think I'm gonna probably be a little slow answering your questions, but keep asking. What's the difference between bioaccumulation and biomagnification? I was just listening to Jones's video. Shout out to Jonesy. He was just talking about bioaccumulation and biomagnification. He showed this really cool diagram that I liked a lot. But what was that? What was that thing he was pointing to? Was that a seal or something? Anyway, so the way that I look at it and the way that I can kind of explain it to you is biomagnification, in a sense, is happening in a system. It's happening in like a food chain or a food web even, where you're having a toxin in a system, right? At each trophic level, that toxin is being passed on at the same amount. So the example we constantly use in class is 5 milligrams. So that 5 milligrams is moving on. The amount of energy, though, is decreasing. So when we talk about biomagnification, it's all about that ratio, the ratio of energy and toxin is really what we're talking about for biomagnification. Okay, so the idea is you have this upside down pyramid, and at each level, it's magnifying. And by it, I mean the amount of toxin in comparison to the amount of energy. Whereas in bioaccumulation, you're basically talking about an organism and how many other organisms it's eating, right? And each time it's eating something in that system, in that food web, the amount of toxin is accumulating in its body, specifically in its fatty tissue. So that's bioaccumulation. So those are the differences between biomag and bioaccumulation. Okay. All right. Ananya, hello. Yeah, no problem, Eris. Okay, Shivy. Sup, Shivy. Can you talk about cell respiration and ATP? Sure. Okay, so cell respiration is the process of your body breaking down. So you eat, right? Like I just saw Mr. Jones eating during his video lecture. You eat, your body ends up taking that food and eventually breaks it down into glucose, right? Now, when you take it from glucose into energy, so when you break it down and convert that glucose into energy, also known as ATP, that's basically cell respiration. So when we talk about it and when we say metabolism, cell respiration is a far more specific term to use than just metabolism. Okay, so that's what I would say you need to know about cell respiration. Okay, hi Abrami. Go over what happens to the other 90% of the energy. Yeah, for sure. So 10% of the energy gets passed on, right? That's how much you have to use for whatever you want to use it for. The other 90% is going to be released as heat, in the form of heat, to your surroundings, to your environment, right? So your body is doing cell respiration, homeostasis, all that stuff, and it's creating heat, and that's what's going to go to the environment. I heard Jones refer to it as sort of like the trash of where energy goes, right? So the idea is when it leaves your body, it goes into your surroundings, and then eventually it goes into the atmosphere. Okay, remember, it is not lost. All right, let's see. My awesome student, YEJIN, what name do you prefer to go by? Okay, Akanksha, can you explain symbiosis one more time? Sure, Akanksha. Symbiosis, the specific ones we talked about, the specific symbiotic relationships we talked about in class are parasitism, where you have one organism that is benefiting while the other is being harmed. You have commensalism, where one organism is benefiting and the other is not being harmed nor benefited. And then mutualism, where both of them are being harmed, or excuse me, both of them are being benefited. It's been a long day. I just got home like 15 minutes ago. All right, let's see. What you got? Can you go through how something from a biotic factor is considered biotic? Okay, so Nitin, don't worry about that. I think that's just going to confuse us. Generally speaking, we say if something comes from a biotic thing, it's considered biotic. For the sake of what we're doing on tomorrow's assessment, I want you to just apply the characteristics of life. Just know those. That's what I want you to focus on, okay? Can you go through how something from a biotic group? I went through that one already. What is a generalist and a specialist? Hi, Shravya. So a generalist is an organism or a species that is really can eat anything, right? So think about humans, like we can eat a wide variety of stuff. Whereas a specialist is an organism or a species that is not going to be able to, either it's not able to or something inhibits it from being able to have a wide variety of food. So think about some birds and their beak size. That beak size limits the amount of food or the variety of food that the bird can have. So that's the difference between a specialist and a generalist. Okay. Coco, what is RNA? So RNA is ribonucleic acid. It's like DNA, but it's got a single strand instead of a double strand. We haven't talked a whole lot about it, so just know that it's a form of genetic material, and then eventually we'll get much deeper into it. All right, so looks like Shravya and Aparna asked the same question, so I hope that was helpful. Can we also answer questions in this chat? Yes, Eris, you definitely. I love it when you guys help each other out. So if you see a question pop up and you want to answer it, I would love for you to answer it. Hi, Eileen. Nice to see you. Aisha. Perfect. Thank you for answering that. What's up, Vade? Nice to see you, buddy. Looks like Nidhi, thank you for being here. I appreciate you very much. During your example about biomagnification, you said each organism has a fixed amount of toxin. However, in your bioaccumulation example, you said organisms higher up have more toxin. Okay, we should try to clarify that. So the amount of toxin that's getting passed from one trophic level to another is the same. It's not decreasing or increasing. The amount of toxin is the same, right? The amount of energy is decreasing. When you take that ratio and you see how it's changing at each trophic level, that's where you can see the pyramid, because when you look at the ratio, the amount of toxin really, in comparison with how much energy you're getting, is actually increasing. When you add bioaccumulation to all of this, in bioaccumulation, we're talking about one organism, right? That organism is eating so many things, and each time it eats something from that system, from that toxic system, it's building this toxicity in its fatty tissue. So that's what I mean. I hope that's more helpful. All right. What is metabolism? Metabolism is your body breaking down food to make energy. We're going to refer to it as cell respiration. All right. Can we go over why viruses are not living things? They're not living things for several reasons, right? So viruses are lots of things. Oh my goodness. They need a host to do a lot of things, right? In order to reproduce, they need a host. They're not made up of cells, and so on and so forth. So you can apply every single one of those 8 characteristics and notice that for the most part, it doesn't match with many of them. For the quiz, do we need to know the Waterways project we did in class? The water flow chart, do you mean, Avni? If you mean the water flow chart, then yes, absolutely, you need to know that. Nikita, could you please go over the water cycle? Sure, Nikita. Do you mean the natural water cycle or the man-made water cycle? Can you be more specific? If it's natural, then we're just talking about evaporation and transpiration. Remember, transpiration is the evaporation of water from plants. Then it goes up and we have condensation, the formation of clouds, and then we have precipitation, and it just goes in a cycle. Okay. Let's see. Lost my place with your guys' questions, so let me try to find that again. All right, where were we? Let's see. Okay, found my spot. Go over the names of the organisms on the energy pyramid. Rukaya, what's up? Yes, I can definitely go over the names of the organisms on the energy pyramid. So I think what you mean by that is like autotroph, right? What's another name for autotroph? It can also be called a producer, which is a plant. They photosynthesize, right? They use sun's energy. The sun is the original source of all energy. And then from there, first organism that's going to eat that is going to be known as a primary consumer, also known as an herbivore or herbivore. From there, you have a secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, quaternary consumer. Don't worry about the last one because we didn't talk about it a whole lot in class. You have carnivores that eat meat. You have omnivores that eat both meat and non-meat. So I hope that's helpful. Is that what you meant? Let me know. Okay. Vade, give an example of an A, B, and C question. Yeah, for sure. So like an A level question for me would be asking you to describe why it's not a good idea to eat the top level organism in a food chain when that food chain or when that system has a toxin in it, right? And then in that explanation, you would talk about the differences between biomagnification and bioaccumulation. A B level question and a C level question, examples that I gave in class today is a C level question could say something like, could ask something like, which one of the following is not a characteristic of life? Whereas a B level question could ask, which one of the examples is not considered a characteristic of life or does not, you know what I mean? So it's sort of like a C level question is at almost like a basic, like a core level, and a B level question takes it up a notch. And then an A level question is known as an advanced question because that's when I really know if you know your stuff or not. Okay. Yes, A-level questions, Shravya, are essay questions. That is correct. All right, Avni, when animals drink water from a lake or something, they're drinking non-purified water. So does that harm their body? And if they can drink it, why can't we? Generally speaking, when they drink water from a river or a lake, that water is probably going to be clean. I think there's a lot of gunk that humans throw, and there's a lot of non-point source pollution, right? That I think we contribute to. So, but it depends on what you're talking about. I think without humans messing with it, there's a lot of bodies of water that are fine to drink from. Okay, and just remember too, every animal handles water differently, as far as like how it goes through its system and the bacteria that it has. But generally speaking, if a body of water has stuff in it that's not good for us, like bacteria, it can actually make you sick. Can you explain the difference between homeostasis and respond to stimuli? Sure. So if you put your hand in a bucket of cold water, like we did in the energy lab, right? That cold water, what is it going to do? It's going to make you shiver. It's going to maybe get your hair to stand up. So that's a response to a stimulus or stimuli, right? Whereas homeostasis is taking place internally, and it is your body's way of basically balancing, making sure your internal environment is balanced or maintained. So for example, your blood glucose, when you have food, your glucose levels go up, right? So what happens then? Your body needs to make sure that it brings it back down a notch. So it's constantly doing this. When you're really hungry and your blood glucose is low, your body's going to try to kick it up. So it goes back into that range that you need it to be in. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Eileen, what's fatty tissue? So fatty tissue is something we all have in our body. And when you have a toxin, when you consume something that has a toxin in it, that toxin ends up going into your fatty tissue, and that's where it hangs out until your body is able to break it down. Is a carrot plant, let's see, Aria. Out of the ground, still biotic. Yeah, because the carrot is made up of cells, right? But then be careful, because I think this is where we start to kind of question, like, oh my God, do I really understand biotic, abiotic? I think the general rule is that it's biotic, but I'm usually going to ask you to apply the 8 characteristics. So just go that route. Don't dive into the, oh my God, but if he asks me if a feather is biotic or abiotic, right? Don't go down that route. It's going to confuse you. Okay. Can you please define an estuary as well? Sure, Arya. An estuary is a body of water that has brackish water. So it's a mix of ocean water or salt water and fresh water, right? And there's an opening. It's got rivers flowing from land, from inland into the estuary. It's got a peninsula, which basically means it's not a bay, right? And a bay is completely open to salt water. It's almost like a half circle shape, right? Whereas an estuary is not. I want you to, when you guys have a moment, look up an actual picture of the San Francisco estuary, and you'll see kind of what I'm talking about. Okay, let's see. All right, I see you guys are helping each other out. Thank you very much for that. Miu, what are the 8 characteristics of life? So that's something that you can find really easily in your notes, Miu. So I'm going to ask you to refer to your notes for that one. I don't know if it's super helpful for me to like go over them since they're already in your notes. So take a look at your notes. If somebody could post those for Miu, I would appreciate it so that she could see what they are, just in case she doesn't have it in her notes. What's the difference between a niche and a habitat? Good question. A niche is a bigger term, right? It's an umbrella term, really, that covers everything an organism does. Its habitat, what it eats, kind of what it does, how it mates, all those things are an organism's niche or niche, however you want to say that. Okay. Yep. So Harsha, same thing, buddy. If you can go over your notes, find those 8. And again, if somebody can list those for everyone, I would appreciate it, because I'm not sure that it's the best use of your guys' time for me to go over the 8 characteristics unless everybody wants me to. All right. Explain homeostasis versus metabolism versus respond to an environment. Sure. Shikar, am I saying that name right? It's a nice name. So homeostasis is when your body, like I was saying, it's maintaining that internal balance, right? Internal environment by balancing things out. Metabolism is your body breaking things down in order for you to create energy, to convert food into energy. And responding to an environment is something that's happening to your environment. Your body wants to kind of like, for example, if it gets really cold, right? Like what does your body kind of do? Your body starts to shiver. And when you're shivering, you're trying to create heat. So that's a response to environment. All right, Coco, you're welcome. Thank you, everybody who's listing the characteristics of life. Ananya, yeah, transpiration is evaporation of water from plants. That's what that is. Okay, let's see what else we got. Yep, we talked about an estuary already, so hopefully that helped. Go over why viruses aren't living things. So I briefly talked about that, so just make sure that you go back and watch that one. Lost my place again. Let's see. Everybody make sure you're drinking your water. I got my water. This is a mug that my pottery teacher made specifically for me, which I really like. He asked me what color I wanted, and I said I wanted gold. I don't know if you guys can see the gold, but I'm a fan of this mug. I try to make something like it. Let me show you guys. Quick little break from bio. This just goes to show learning curve, right? Like this is the one my teacher made. Check it out. This is the one I made. Like his is awesome and amazing and really cool. And then there's this one with a weird handle. Anyway, let's get back to work. All right. I just want to make sure I'm drinking my water. So let's see. Where were we? Oh, looks like I'm falling behind. Oh, yes. Where are we at? Okay, found my place. All right, let's see. Explain ATP's role in cell respiration, Rithwik. Hi, Rithwik. Yeah, so cell respiration, basically it's a process. It's a reaction where at the end of it, you're going to end up with ATP. The goal is to end up with adenosine triphosphate. And then we use ATP, we break the bond between the second and the third phosphate, and that's how we release energy. So that's what that's about. Water pollution, it's basically, I just want you guys to know that water can be polluted. For example, when we talk about non-point source pollution or point source pollution, those are ways you can pollute water by like washing your car with soap that's not environmentally friendly in your driveway, and then that ends up going down the storm drain, eventually to the estuary, and now you're impacting the aquatic organisms in the estuary. Okay. Let's see. Shavia, both water cycles. So I can, we talked about the natural one already. The few things that you should definitely know about the man-made water cycle. These are common misconceptions that I see is just make sure you know that storm drain and what am I trying to say? Sewer system or sewage, they're completely separate, right? So they stay separate the whole time. Storm drain never carries anything to a wastewater treatment plant. It just goes to a river and then the estuary or directly into the estuary, right? Which kind of, it really makes me sad. I was having a conversation with some of you in class today about how it's just not the infrastructure is not great, because instead of collecting all this awesome rainwater, we direct it so that it goes into our storm drains and then into the bay or into the estuary, which is not great. It should be done better than that. So other things you need to know is the difference between a water treatment plant and a wastewater treatment plant. Know that reservoirs, you can take water from, say, like a reservoir, you can direct it or transfer it to another area using an aqueduct, and then eventually that has to go to a water treatment plant. I think that's kind of it. I'd be happy to answer more specific questions about that. If you want, ask me more specific questions. Okay, will you need to memorize waterways? Yes, Harsha, you do need to know waterways pretty well. Vade, basic explanation of the water flow chart. I hope the one that I just gave was good. Let me know if you need more than that. Hereditary means it's something that you inherit, and by that I mean it's something that you genetically get, right? So something that like is passed down genetically from mom and dad to offspring or child. ATP, adenosine triphosphate. It's what you get at the end of cell respiration, right? I talked about it briefly a little while ago. Thank you, Eris. I appreciate you talking about that. Shikar, very good. Thank you. All right. I love how you guys are helping each other out. So please continue to do that. It helps me out a lot. Annika, explain how exactly the 90% of energy becomes heat. So the 90%, your body's going to use that 90% to do stuff, right? Your body needs to do cell respiration. Your body needs to do homeostasis, all of those things. So your body's going to do all those things with the 90%, and then it's just going to get released as heat. So that 10% that's left is the stuff that you can choose to do whatever you want with, what we call work. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Heterotrophs are organisms that don't do photosynthesis. They cannot make their own food, so they eat, they consume food, right? So we are heterotrophs, for example. We're not autotrophs. So Anna, I talked about viruses being abiotic previously. If somebody can give a really awesome explanation of like all the different characteristics of life that don't match with what viruses are, I would appreciate that. Desalination, Abirami, desalination is taking salt out of water. It's a really cool idea, but it's super costly, especially in regards to energy. So it's not something that is reliable, at least right now. Are heterotrophs, hi Avni, are heterotrophs secondary consumers? Heterotrophs can be secondary consumers, they can be primary consumers, they could be tertiary consumers, all of the above. All right. Cool. I'm seeing that you guys are responding to each other, which is amazing. Thank you for that. Explain homeostasis versus respond to stimulus. Yeah, homeostasis again goes back to stuff that you're not paying attention to it, right? Stuff that's taking place inside your body. A response to stimulus is when something happens in your environment and your body tries to do something to kind of get past that and put yourself in a more comfortable situation. So putting your hand in really cold water, or imagine if I made the classroom super cold and your body would start shivering. That shivering, basically your body's doing that because it's trying to generate heat. Rokaya, are all sea level questions multiple choice? Generally, yes. You could also see some fill in the blank, some true false, but generally, yeah, they are multiple choice. Alrighty, let's see what it is. Good, I see. Dog Rusty Gaming, thank you for your responses. They're awesome. Do you have to know, let's see, Anna, do you have to know some examples of mutualism, commensalism, parasitism? You don't have to know examples of it, but if I describe a situation, if I describe an example and give you all these little hints, then I want you to tell me what type of relationship, symbiotic relationship I'm talking about. Okay, Arya, after a wastewater treatment plant, does water go to a sewage system and then the bay? Okay, first of all, Arya, estuary, just messing with you, it's all good. So it doesn't, after wastewater treatment plant, it goes straight into the estuary. It doesn't go back into the sewage system. The sewage system takes the water from our homes and businesses to the wastewater treatment plant and then the estuary. Okay. What's the difference? Let's see, Akanksha. What's the difference between an aquifer and a reservoir? An aquifer is underground and it is not man-made. A reservoir is not underground and it is man-made. All right. They can both get filled with precipitation. An aquifer can sometimes have a man-made sort of body of water over it called a percolation pond. And the reason why reservoirs are man-made is because they have a dam, which is what humans build. Okay. Let's see. All right. Annika, once water is in the sewage system, where does it go? It goes to the wastewater treatment plant and then the estuary in our area. Okay. Eileen, what should you know about the water jigsaw? You should definitely know about rainwater harvesting, like what that means. You should know about gray water recycling and what that means. You should know about desalination. And you should also know there were a few articles that I put in there. One of them was water use in the home. Another one was water use in the US. You should definitely be familiar with both of those articles. All right, let's see. Are reservoirs man-made? Yes, they are, Avni. All right, let's see. Rithwik, why is the pyramid biomagnification upside down? What is the relationship between toxins and energy as you go up the energy pyramid? I would love it if somebody can answer that question for Rithwik. But Rithwik, that's an amazing question you're asking. And I hope that by the time we're done, you know the answer to your question. I'll just throw a couple things in there as other people try to answer your question written. But basically, the reason why it's upside down is because the upside down pyramid shows you that a toxin is magnifying in a system, right? It's showing you that you're not just getting a tenth of that toxin like you are with energy, right? You're getting all of that toxin. And then when you compare the amount of toxin to the amount of energy that each trophic level is getting, you see that it's, even though energy is decreasing, the toxin is staying the same. So that's what that relationship is about. Nitin, waterways, I briefly went over it. I highly recommend that everybody looks over their water flow chart. It's something you want to know for tomorrow. Okay. Water from a wastewater treatment. So the question is, where does the water from a wastewater treatment plant go? From Ian. Ian, it goes into the estuary. What else we got? The pyramid in biomagnification is upside down. Yep. Thank you, Eris, for helping out. Okay, Coco, can the water from the aquifer go straight to the water treatment plant? Yeah, that's possible. It's a possibility. Arya, so Arya, I'm gonna have you go back to the beginning of this video, somewhat the beginning. I gave a pretty descriptive explanation of biomagnification. All right. Thank you, Anisha, for your explanation. Mahal. Avni, how does water from the aquifer go to the water treatment plant? So it's kind of like a well, Avni. You'd have to build something like a well that takes that water up, almost like a straw that takes it up and then takes it to the water treatment plant. Nikita, 10% rule. So 10% rule says that every time energy moves up from one trophic level to another, you are going to have only 10% of it really be usable for work for the next trophic level. So if I eat a carrot, if the carrot has, let's just make up a number, 100 kilojoules of energy, I really end up with 10% of that, which means 10 kilojoules of energy to actually be able to want to use, to be able to use for the stuff that I want to do. The rest of it ends up in the form of heat and it escapes my body. It transfers to the environment. Okay. What else we got? I see John Winton in the house. What's up, John? All right, let's see. Oh man, I lose my place once in a while. There's so many questions. I love it, but man, I'm slow tonight. Slow tonight. Okay. Well, let me find my place. Okay, gray water. Yes, chef. Is that Catherine over there saying yes, chef? That's awesome. Okay. Man, you guys are going so much faster than me. Okay. Let's see. Metabolism. Avni, metabolism is the general process of your body breaking down food and converting it into energy, and cell respiration is the specific process. Okay. Do viruses qualify because they can reproduce with the host, or do they? So, okay, good question. Happy Gator. It doesn't qualify because they need a host to reproduce. So for viruses, that's one of the reasons why we don't consider them living. Do you need to give examples of symbiosis on the quiz? You should know how to decipher, how to break through examples that I'm giving you so that you know what kind of relationship that is. But I'm not going to ask you to come up with examples on your own. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Symbiosis, Arya, is a relationship between two different species where at least one of them is benefiting. Bioaccumulation increases up the chain because the organisms eat more further up. Yes, that is correct. All right, Catherine, Master Chef, is in the house. Eris. Okay, I see that. I see that. Anna, is aquifer connected to aqueduct and river? It's a possibility. Probably not a river, but that's a possibility for an aqueduct to be connected to an aquifer. If you want to, generally speaking, though, you're going to have a aqueduct be connected to a reservoir. Okay. Anisha, you do need to know the water flow chart. Absolutely. Ananya, gray water versus wastewater. Yeah, so gray water is water that is not gross, not water that is not poopy. In other words, like it's your shower water that maybe it's when you turn the water on and you're waiting for the water to get hot or warm, and all that water that's kind of washing down into your shower, you're collecting all that water. So that's gray water, right? Whereas wastewater is water that like the toilet water where you're flushing it down the toilet because it has other stuff. It has maybe feces or urine in it. Okay. Aria. So for those of you asking about bioaccumulation and biomagnification, I'm going to refer you to the beginning of the video where I talked about it. Tanvi, what happens to 10% energy at the end of the food chain? Does it also get transferred as heat? So the 10% is what that organism uses, Tanvi. So if I'm at the top of the food chain, I'm going to use that 10% for whatever, whatever work I use it for. All right. Ian, is the only reason that there are less organisms at the top due to the lack of energy that the tertiary consumers can gain? That's a part of it, but I wouldn't say it's the only reason. I mean, when you talk about biomass, the amount of organisms that exist at each level, you're going to have it be much larger in the bottom, and it gets smaller and smaller as you go up the top. Let's see. Aparna, is water a sustainable resource? Yes, but drinkable water is not. Let's see, bioaccumulation is how much toxin accumulates in an organism. Yep. Good. I see that a lot of you are continuing to answer each other's questions. Thank you very much for that. An example, Anna, an example of point source pollution is, in class we talked about how you can point to it. So an example would be if a ship ends up having a leak, and we can point to where that leak is coming from. Do we need to give examples of symbiosis? Nope. You don't need to come up with examples. You're going to need to maybe break down my examples and tell me which relationships they are. For conservation, do we just need to know how to conserve water? Yeah, Sanvi. So for conservation, you should definitely look up the articles that I put up on Google Classroom. Make sure you have read the water use in the home and water use in the US articles. Okay. Okay. Let's see what else. So Avni, how does the water from our toilet go to the wastewater treatment plant if it's going to go to the estuary in the end? Why does it go there? Because what we don't want to do, Avni, is we don't want to throw like this water that's just untreated into the estuary because it's bad for the aquatic organisms there. We want to make sure that we treat that water so that it's not impacting the health of those organisms. Okay. Let's see. Julian, transpiration means evaporation of water from plants. Good. I see that you're helping each other. That's amazing. Thank you, everybody who's helping. Abhirami, example of metabolism, I would say really focus on cell respiration. That's what I want you to know. There's a much more specific term that I want you guys to use. All right. Let's see what else we got. Give an example for each of the symbiosis categories. Anusha, if you can refer to that worksheet I gave you guys in class, I think you're good. You're good to go. Nikita, so in a way, we technically get all 100% energy, but we can only use 10% of it for whatever we want. Yes, Nikita, that is accurate. Let's see. So what else we got, homies? Do we need to know examples of mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism? You do not need to know examples, but you need to be able to tell me what kind of relationship it is if I give you examples. Yep, thank you, Nidhi, for reminding everybody that they can play this, replay this video if they missed something. I appreciate that. All right, lots of questions about examples of symbiosis. Again, I want to recap that by letting you know that you don't need to know your own examples. You just need to know what they are, what kind of relationship they are when I give you examples. Will there be a question having us fill in a waterways flowchart? So Rokaya, that's a great question. I'm not going to ask you to fill in a water flowchart, but I will say something like, which one of the following is accurate, right? And then I'll list different ones, and one will say something like, water goes from house to sewage system to water treatment plant, and then you're going to be like, nope, not water treatment plant, because it's going from sewage to wastewater treatment plant. Mr. H. Cool. So questions like that. What else we got? Oh, good. Nitin, explain the waterway system starting from evaporation. Nitin, I'm not sure what specifically about that you want me to explain. If you're just talking about like the whole waterways, I'm not sure that would be the best use of our time. If you all want me to, I'd be happy to. But and I'm not sure if you mean like natural water cycle or man-made water cycle. All right, but yes, the waterways flowchart or the water flowchart will be on the quiz. Okay. How many questions, Eris? Approximately 20. I think I have something like 12 C levels. I want to say 7 B levels and 1 A level. Okay. Ian, is it the same for Ms. Chow's class? I have not seen Ms. Chow's test or quiz, but they shouldn't be a whole lot different. There's definitely some similarities between all the bio teachers' quizzes and tests. Where do aqueducts go and where do they come from? Anisha. So aqueducts basically go from, like, they start from somewhere like a reservoir, right? You connect them to a reservoir and then you can take them to a water treatment plant somewhere completely like far away. So from the estuary area all the way down to like the Southern California. Alrighty. John and Nidhi, you guys are adorable saying hi to each other. My awesome TAs. I love my TAs. I love him. Okay. Can you please explain what saltwater intrusion is? Of course I can, Nikita. So saltwater intrusion is when you have an aquifer that's close to the ocean. And remember, ocean has salt water. And if humans take a lot of that water out of the aquifer and your water table starts to go down, eventually you're making your aquifer much more susceptible to contamination from the ocean water. So that's what saltwater intrusion is when that ocean water contaminates your aquifer. Okay. Annika, gray water is usually used for like gardening and irrigation. Is it harmful to drink water straight from an aquifer? Generally, no. Generally, aquifers are they have pretty clean water. Abarami, rainwater harvesting is collecting rainwater. And a lot of us, most of us don't, but it's the idea of collecting rainwater instead of just letting it run down into storm drains. Because as you know, letting them go into the storm drain basically means they end up in the estuary and we can't use that water anymore because the estuary has brackish water and we don't want to drink brackish water. We want to drink fresh water. All right, what else? Seeing a lot of people helping each other out, which is great. right. What else? What else? I try to read through some more of this. Oh, yeah, I fell behind again. Okay, let's see. Where are we at? Where are we at, friends? I lost my place. I keep losing my place. I was not expecting so many of you guys to show up tonight. Our number reached like 70 something at one point, I think. And I was not expecting that. So thank you everybody who showed up. I hope that I'm able to answer all of your questions. I hope. Okay. I think I'm finding my place. I'm getting close. Yeah, Nidhi, thanks for mentioning that. Every teacher, all the teachers talk about their quizzes and tests, and we definitely have a lot of conversations with each other about what we want them to look like. But everybody does make their own quizzes and tests. So you will see similarities, but they're not going to be identical. Okay. Is it harmful to drink water straight from an aquifer? Like I was saying, generally no. All right, I'm trying to find the next question because I see a lot of you guys just answering each other's questions. Anisha, you're asking what is the ratio for biomagnification? There's no like given ratio. It all depends on the amount of energy that's being passed and the amount of toxin that's in the system. So it's not like a specific number that I can just that exists that I can just make up. You know what I mean? It's just it depends on the system, on the environment. All right. Is there a term for the ratio of how 10% of energy moves up to another trophic level? We just call it the 10% rule, the flow of energy. Shikar, what is an apex consumer? I didn't talk about that at all in my class, so I would say for my students, don't worry about that at all. All right, let's see. Ian, anything coming from a living thing is biotic, generally speaking, yeah. All right, Catherine with the yes, chef. Just so you all know, Catherine always, whenever I say something, I give directions in class, she always follows it up with the yes, chef, which I actually enjoy very much. What exactly are reservoirs, Sanvi? Reservoirs are, it's basically a watershed, right? It's an area where water is being collected. There's a lot of runoff. It's being collected in one area, and humans build a dam to make sure that it stays in that area. Like there's one close to Monte Vista, right? Stevens Creek Reservoir. There's one on 17 called Lexington Reservoir. Okay. Ian, is ecology a study of ecosystem or is it more broad? It's a study of living organisms and the relationship with the abiotic things around them and with each other. Okay. Shravya, thank you for helping out. This is so awesome watching that you guys are helping each other out. It's really cool. Okay, I'm gonna try to find the next question. Sachi, where do aquifers lead to? So aquifers can go to homes, although generally that's not really common nowadays. So aquifers can oftentimes go to aqueducts, or they can go to water treatment plants. Where can precipitation come from and lead to on the water flow chart? So precipitation can really go to anything, although it's unnecessary for you to draw to everything. But precipitation can go to a lot of different things, and then the only thing that should go to precipitation is really condensation. Okay. Okay. Jonathan, what's up, Jonathan? You can go to regular water treatment. Okay, ATP is energy, Coco. Yes, ATP is energy. Exactly. When you break that bond between the second and the third phosphate, you have energy. Pretal, you can go ahead and go to the beginning of the video where I talk about bioaccumulation and biomag. About symbiosis. Symbiosis, you just need to know the 3 different types of relationship. Shikar, when are aqueducts used in the man-made water cycle? When you want to transfer water long distances, you take it from a reservoir to an aqueduct, say like a reservoir up here, to an aqueduct to Southern California, to a water treatment plant there, and then to homes and businesses. Okay, Avni, how aqueducts are useful. Aqueducts are great. So like if you want to send water down to SoCal, like you don't want to put it in trucks, right? You want to just carry it. So it's like a half pipe basically that carries the water down to wherever you're guiding it or directing it to. What else we got, homies? By the way, I am munching on some of this amazing stuff tonight. You ever try this stuff? Dark chocolate peanut butter cups. It is so good. That is my treat for myself tonight. All right. Where's our next pregunta? Shavia, go over bottled water part again. So bottled water, we talked about how it takes a lot of water and oil to basically make a bottle, right? A bottle that we're just going to use one time and then throw out. And recycling is not a super inexpensive or super doable thing. It takes some effort in doing it, and not everybody recycles anyway. And there's a lot of companies that are basically going in and buying land and using the aquifers and making it sort of illegal for the natives to use it. And then there's so many issues with using bottled water, right? Oftentimes it's just tap water that you're paying a ton of money for. Okay. All right. Sustainable, Sachi, sustainable means that you can continue doing it for a long amount of time, right? So when we ask, is water sustainable or is drinkable water sustainable, we're asking the question, will we have drinking water forever? All right. Shikar, can you please confirm how water gets from rivers to house? So water does not, like generally speaking in our water flow chart, water doesn't go from rivers to house, right? You have rivers that take water to reservoirs. You have other rivers that take water to the estuary. So that's how that works. Anisha, you don't need to know much about septic tanks. I didn't really include it. It's just in areas like mine where we don't have a sewer system, each house has its own septic tank, and every 3 to 5 years you get it refilled. All right. So Joshua, desalination is removing salt from water. How do aqueducts transport water? From Jai. So they transfer it because you basically put it in this sort of like half pipe, right? And there's, I guess, motors along the way that are pushing this water through in certain areas. Like if you ever drive Highway 5, you'll see that there's areas where gravity is helping too. So the idea is to transport water from one area to another. Okay. How do aqueducts take water from aquifers? Oh, I lost it. What happened? Somebody asked how long is this happening? I'm probably going to go another 5 minutes or so. And then I'm going to try to take my dog for a walk because she has not had her walk today. Let's see. Oop, I missed a bunch of questions. Okay, I'm going to try to go through it fast. So I apologize if I don't get to your question. I'll just see what I can get to. Somebody asked, is drinking water from reservoirs safe? Generally speaking, because it's so open to anything. I've seen people who take their dogs in a reservoir. They shouldn't, but I would say it's probably not a good idea. You want it to go through a water treatment plant first, but I probably wouldn't drink water from a reservoir unless I absolutely needed to. Okay. Shravya, you asked when a house is not connected to the grid, how do they get their water? So fortunately, my house is, but when a house is not, they have these large water tanks, and a big truck comes in and fills them every so often, right? It's kind of like in my area, we don't have natural gas going underground, so each house has their own propane tank, and every few months you call and they come and refill your propane tank. And so, like when I turn on my oven or my stovetop, that gas is propane that's coming through from a propane tank that I have on my property. All right. Yeah, Alicia, you're right. You don't need to know that much about bottled water. All you need to know is that your bio teacher is going to give you a really hard time if you're drinking from a plastic water bottle. Okay. What else we got, homies? Yeah, thank you for the reminder, Nidhi. Appreciate you. All right, all right, all right. Try to see more of your questions. So Joshua, I spoke about gray water recycling a little earlier. It's the idea of taking water that's not, it's not dirty water, right? It's water that maybe like you didn't use for toilet use or whatever. It's taking that water and putting it to good use for irrigation, watering your plants. Do aquifers lead to water treatment plants or houses? It's both. Both are a possibility, Nitin. Okay. Okay, what else? What else? What else? Harsha, percolation ponds are man-made bodies of water, and their job is to recharge aquifers. What else we got? Okay. So many good questions here tonight, friends. This is awesome. I'm super happy that we got a strong group going tonight. I have pretty much half of my bio students in here. That's amazing. I was not expecting that. Eris, yeah, this live stream will be saved. All live streams will be saved, and you can rewatch them if you want. Okay. Okay. Nitin, do storm drains go into the estuary or rivers? Either is possible, or both are possible, I should say. Alicia, how long is this going on? Yeah, I'm going to go another couple minutes. Man, I can't believe it's almost 9:30 already. That's crazy. Shikar, a water table is the amount of water that exists in like an aquifer. Yeah, Alicia, you're right. The majority of the ongoing questions are already answered. You're totally right. Alicia, you are right. Okay. So I guess as we're approaching the end, I'll just give you some advice while I munch on my dark chocolate about this quiz and just all upcoming quizzes. So a few points of wisdom from your bio teacher. So I would say the number one thing you want to do is, generally speaking, when you have an upcoming quiz in bio, you want to make sure that you're studying for it, not just the night before, but you start your studying a few days beforehand. Ideally at least 3 days beforehand. Don't pull an all-nighter. Not a good idea at all to pull an all-nighter. And my TAs who are here, please feel free to chime in as well. Just make sure that you're getting some decent sleep. I know this live session is going to go till 9:30ish, but hopefully, you know, depending on what time you get up, you should try to get that 9 hours of sleep. I know, I understand that it can be really difficult as a Montevista student. I was in your shoes, so I get it. But try to get the right amount of sleep, because I think you're going to see how much of a difference it's going to make, right? And that if you try to pull an all-nighter, it's just you're going to wake up in the morning and just, your brain needs sleep to remember this information. And then just remember, don't read the book. I'm not going to be teaching you from the book, right? So sleep is important. Yep. Yes, chef. Oh man, you guys are funny. And then, I don't know, other things, just make sure you have food on you. Make sure you're not hungry when you walk into a quiz or test. For me, when I was your guys' age, I had a lot of test anxiety. So I would go into a quiz or a test. I remember in college, excuse me, in college once I was walking into a chemistry class where I had a test and I was like, oh my God, am I going to throw up? And I think I learned a lot of like breathing exercises before a test, and they've helped me calm down. And I even did stuff like I took my favorite pencils and I wore my favorite shirt or whatever to quiz and test. So do stuff to make yourself feel comfortable and at ease. When you are taking your test, just remember, or your quiz, there are students who go back over and over and over and they change answers. And oftentimes when we grade them, we notice that the first answer that the student had written was the right answer, but they went back and changed it. So just know that that's something that we see all the time as well. And I don't want you to kind of just be aware of that, that when you're done with your quiz, sure, look it over a second time, but don't try to overdo it. And then don't be afraid to ask questions during a quiz, right? Like that's what I'm there for. So if you hit a road bump or you're having a little moment of like, oh my God, like I don't know what this question's asking, just call me over. I'll try to clarify it for you. Don't feel bad. It's my job. You never have to apologize when you ask a question in bio or for any class really, because it's a teacher's job to answer your question. So that's what I got for you guys. Now I'm gonna munch on this dark chocolate. Who here loves peanut butter and dark chocolate? It's such a good combination. I love it. Dogs. So right now, I only have one of my dogs here, and I don't know where she's at. Kachuki. Hi, there you are. So I see one of my dogs, but in the evenings, she gets super lazy. Like she's not down to do much. Like even when I say, do you want to go for a walk? Nope, she doesn't even lift up her head. Kachuki, do you want to go for a walk? Nope. She kind of just looked at me right now and gave me this like, no thanks look. No thanks, Dad. I'm good. You go on a walk by yourself. So you guys say this is commensalism, you don't get chocolate. Who's saying that? If I had chocolate in the classroom, I would gladly share it with you guys, especially dark chocolate. By the way, guys, let's have a really important conversation about chocolate. White chocolate is not chocolate, homies. White chocolate is straight up sugar. When I like the kind of chocolate I like to eat, is got to be about 70% cocoa or cacao. All right, let me see what you guys are saying. Show us. Yeah, I will try to show you guys my dog one of these days, or my dogs. Yeah, Catherine, you're a fan of dogs. You guys, Alicia, you guys demand chocolate. You know what? I will have something for you all in class tomorrow. It's not chocolate, but I have something prepared for you all. You're gonna have to wait and see for yourself, because I don't want to ruin the surprise. Right? Somebody agrees with me. I don't know who you are, Dog Rusty, but white chocolate is not for me. You say, can everyone get chocolate for his birthday? That's not a bad idea. We could do that. Shravya, white chocolate is chocolate? Is that what, Shravya, you're fired? No. Yeah, Alicia, I agree with you. White chocolate is a scam. Nikhil, what's up? Let's see. What else? Who else is here? Yeah, Alicia, you're totally right. When is my birthday, Eris? My birthday is July 21st. So it's in the middle of the summer, kind of towards the end of the summer. I like my birthday being over the summer. I like that a lot because I always have my birthday to kind of hang out and I don't have to work. Somebody asked about my toe. My toe is much better, guys. It's kind of made me like feel like I'm Wolverine a little bit, because I thought my toe was broken and I was like, I'm probably gonna limp for a couple weeks, but it's already almost back to normal. So I'm like, wow, how did that happen so quickly? I don't know, but I don't want to jinx myself. I just like it. Let me see. What are you all saying over there? You deserve a reward for taking the test. Avni, if that was the case, you'd be getting rewarded all the time at Monta Vista. What's too sweet? White chocolate? Oh, Ian, come on, man. Did you really just say white is better than dark chocolate? No, my friend, it is not. Oh, you're a dog, Rusty. You're a GAN student. I would love to meet you. Come in and say hi sometime. Let's see who else is here. Coco, I try to get my dog here, but she's got zero interest. I'll see if I can do better next time. If I can have an earlier session, I'll do it in the backyard, and you guys can definitely see my dog because she usually likes to hang out wherever I'm at. Right now, she's laying on a very comfortable couch, so she's got no interest in coming over here. Thank you, Catherine. I do have special skills. Guys, I'm serious. This stuff is magic. It's too good. It's too good. Peanut butter cups. But I'm telling you, peanut butter cups with dark chocolate. That's what's, and with a glass of milk on the side. I don't have that right now, but. Eris, you went to the kitchen and got some dark chocolate? That's awesome, man. That's really cool. Avni, you want chocolate too? You know what we should create? For those of you who like dark chocolate, we should create this, like, not like a real club, but a group of people who like bring in dark chocolate to share with each other. That would be amazing. I would be a part of that for sure. I'll bring some of my favorite dark chocolates. Trader Joe's, believe it or not, has really good dark chocolates, you guys. All right. It has been a pleasure hanging out with you all. Thank you for spending your evenings with me. I really appreciate it. And I'm excited to see you all tomorrow. I hope you all get some good sleep. Thanks for being awesome bio students, and best of luck to you all tomorrow. Cool. Adios, my friends.